Hey folks, it is the Kentucky Derby this weekend, and I'm not going, but I'm having a party here at my house, and I thought I'd get some recipe ideas from my friend Barkley Payne, who's actually from Kentucky and he's had parties before. So you're going to meet Barkley in just a few minutes, but let me show you what we're making today. What Kentucky Derby party wouldn't be good without some mint juleps? Of course you gotta have those. I've got some Bourbon Soy Tenderloin mini sandwiches, then I've got some little mini cheese straws, which are quite tasty, and I've also got a Kentucky Derby pie. So I'll show you those recipes in just a few seconds, but first of all, I'll meet my friend Barkley.
So I'm Barkley Payne. I'm a native son of Kentucky. Actually, I'm a Kentucky colonel to boot. There's nothing more spectacular than being in Kentucky, or for that matter, celebrating the first Saturday of May for the Kentucky Derby. Ladies and men getting a new hat, sharing Derby recipes, sharing good times, and then pausing around 5 o'clock for the call to post and the energy and the electricity for the most spectacular 2 minutes in sports. This is a collection of recipes that I've just gathered over time, and a good portion of them are from my good friend Ann Barry O'Brien, a Kentucky native who actually lives just north in Wisconsin.
In order to make a mint julep, you've got to start off with a mint simple syrup. It is 1 cup of water along with 1 cup of sugar over a medium-high heat. Stir that for a little bit, and you're going to add in there about 1/4 of a cup of fresh mint leaves, which you're going to break up a little bit so you can release their essence. And you're going to bring that to a boil. Once they reach a boil, you'll turn off the heat, put the top on there just like that, and then let them just steep for about 15 minutes. After that, you're going to strain the liquid into a separate container and then put that container in the refrigerator until you're ready to use. To make my mint juleps, you put 1 ounce of mint simple syrup along with 5 or 6 mint leaves. You're going to muddle those together to release some of the essence of those mint leaves. You're going to add to that some ice, top that off with 2 ounces of Kentucky bourbon, stir everything together, and then top it with a mint leaf. To make my Derby pie, I start off with 1/2 cup of flour, to which I'm going to add 1 cup of granulated sugar. Mix that together. I'm going to add in there 2 large eggs, 1/2 cup of melted butter, 6 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate, and 3/4 of a cup of chopped pecan. I'm going to add in there 1 teaspoon of vanilla and 2 tablespoons of Kentucky bourbon. I'm going to mix all that together. I'm going to pour that into my prepared pan here. I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees. And when I smooth all this out, I'm going to slide this baby in there, and it's going to take about 55 minutes to bake. And when it comes out of the oven, it is quite beautiful. The ingredients for the cheese straw are pretty simple. You've got 2 cups of shredded sharp cheddar cheese, 1 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and then 6 tablespoons of butter that has been slightly melted. Rather than using a spoon, I actually started using my hands to sort of mold it together, much like a pastry dough. I ended up with this sort of version right here, and I am going to refrigerate that for about an hour before I roll it out. So after about an hour, I took this out of my refrigerator and I rolled it out, and I kind of flattened it rather than using the rolling pin. I flattened it to create a nice tight little 8-inch by 12-inch rectangle here. And I took my little crimper here and I actually cut it across at the 4-inch mark. And then what I wanted to do is cut little 1/2-inch strips all the way up and down. And once they're all spread out, you're going to basically put these in a 350-degree oven for about 25 minutes until they're nice and crispy. And when they're done, this is what they look like. And then you'll just put them in a simple container to serve them. For the Bourbon Soy Tenderloin, you have 2 tenderloins. I only have 1 in the bag here, but you have 2 tenderloins about this size. In my bowl for the marinade, I have 1/4 of a cup of soy sauce and 1/4 of a cup of bourbon. No wonder they have so much fun at this party. Plus I have 2 tablespoons of brown sugar that I'm going to mix in. You're going to mix all that together, and you simply pour that on top of your tenderloin. Very simple. Put that inside. That. And you're going to take out as much air as you possibly can out of this bag. Seal it up just like that. There you go. And then you're going to put that in your refrigerator for about 6 to 8 hours or overnight. After the tenderloins have marinated for a half a day or overnight, what I'm going to do is put them in a baking dish here. I'm going to put them in here along with a little mess there. along with the marinating sauce. And you're going to put these in an oven at 350 degrees for about an hour. You're going to turn them halfway through the process. So after an hour, I put it under the broiler for an additional 10 minutes to give it a nice extra color. That's what it looks like right now, but I'm going to give it 10 more minutes before I slice it up. I'm going to slice them into nice thin slices for my mini sandwiches, and the inside is nice and tender. To make the spread for the tenderloins, you're going to take about a tablespoon of scallions, like that. You're going to mix that with 1/3 cup of sour cream, 1/3 cup of light mayonnaise, 1 tablespoon of dry mustard. You're going to mix all that together. And what you want to do is just do a pinch of salt. And you can add up to 1.5 tablespoons of vinegar, but just do a little at a time and see what you think, because you may not need too much. Yeah, that's good. So I'm here in my dining room, all set for my Kentucky Derby party. I've got my Derby pie here. I've got my Bourbon Soy Tenderloins with little sandwiches. I've got my cheese straw, and I've got my mint juleps. What else could I ask for? Well, maybe a hat. Not a good hat? How about another hat? That hat? That hat? How about that hat? That hat? Probably wrong party. Maybe that hat? Maybe this hat? This actually is my favorite hat. Barkley has a few more comments about hats he's seen at the Derby.
The hats at the Kentucky Derby, that's a tradition. In fact, last year when I was leaving the Derby, I ran into a man who was actually wearing a pink commode hat. Yeah, it was pretty special.
Well, that's this week's WayneBite. Thanks for watching, and thanks to Barkley Payne again for his contributions. You can get the recipe on our website at waynesweekend.com, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel because you'll get more recipes like this and a whole lot more in the coming weeks. Take care.